A very good afternoon to all of you. I'm sorry, I'm 2 minutes late, which I normally am not. And today we are going to have a very exciting webinar because we are not just going to discuss about the permanent makeup procedures, but we're also going to discuss what is the earning potential. So when I say earning potential, it means how much can you earn if you are practicing as a permanent makeup artist, whether it is as a part of your existing practice or it may be that you become exclusively a permanent makeup artist like I have become. So what is the kind of earning potential and also what is the kind of client satisfaction ratio that you can expect? You might be all in different professions. Some of you are doctors, some of you are makeup artists, some of you have your own salon. Some of you might be completely from different fields, not related to health and beauty, and still might want to pursue permanent makeup. So you would actually want to know what is the scope for a permanent makeup artist as somebody who wants to do something which they love doing and want the satisfaction of doing it, and also as far as the commercials are concerned. So today, of course, we are going to study about permanent makeup, but we are also going to talk about the business of permanent makeup. So let's start. Let me see how many people have joined. Okay. So quite a few have joined, and we are hoping that more will join soon. So let's start now. We are going to be talking about the world of microblading as well as micropigmentation, and today's topics that we are going to cover. First and foremost, we are going to do a classification of permanent makeup, which is something which is a new topic for most of you all. After that, we are going to talk in depth about various permanent makeup procedures like eyebrows and lips. And we are also going to be talking about color selection for vitiligo. It's been a burning topic since quite some time. And we now have, come across a proper selection that is possible for permanent makeup in vitiligo. Apart from that, we are also going to discuss about the business of permanent makeup and how you can make the most of it as a permanent makeup artist. What do you understand from the field of microblading and permanent makeup and the definition of what is a tattoo? Now you might be wondering, how come from permanent makeup I have suddenly shifted to a tattoo? Because most of my clients on a regular basis ask me, is permanent makeup a tattoo or not? So our classification part is going to include not just talking about permanent makeup, but also about the science of tattoo itself and about how permanent makeup is similar to tattooing and how permanent makeup is different from tattooing. So if we have to define what is a tattoo in the first place, a tattoo is defined as any sort of colored substance that is impregnated or implanted into the human body or into the skin, is known as a tattoo. It can be deliberate or it can be accidental. If some colored substance like the tip of a pencil or something goes inside my skin, that also is a tattoo. Whereas when we do it deliberately as a design or as an enhancement to one's beauty, that also is a tattoo. There are also various other kinds of tattoos which we are going to explore now. So if we have to classify tattoos and permanent makeup, there are two primary types of tattoos. One is what is known as intentional tattoo, that we intend to do it and we have done it on the human body. We have implanted some sort of color or pigment. The second type is what is known as an accidental tattoo, which none of us intended, but it happened, like I mentioned, the tip of a pencil. So first we will discuss the intentional tattoos. One is what is known as a design tattoo. A design tattoo is something we'll be discussing more in detail. So these are the four types of intentional tattoos: design tattoos, cosmetic tattoos, paramedical tattoos, and purpose tattoos. These are all intentional tattoos. So first and foremost, the design tattoo. A design tattoo is something like this. I have a pug mark on my hand that is meant to be different from the normal human body. So a pug mark is not naturally meant to be on my body, or I have a dolphin here which is also a design tattoo. So design tattoos are done to express one's own views or opinions or likes and dislikes, etc. You might be seeing various tattoos which are like angels and butterflies and tribal tattoos, and you might be seeing Shiva tattoos, etc. All of these are design tattoos which are not meant to be a part of the natural attribute. Next comes cosmetic tattoos. Cosmetic tattoos are not meant to be different, they are meant to enhance the natural features of the human body. So let's say, for example, permanent eyebrows, permanent lip color, permanent eyeliner, scalp micropigmentation, BB glow, beauty spot creation, areola enhancement. All of these are cosmetic tattoos. Now just pay attention to the last one where I have mentioned areola enhancement. There is also something called areola reconstruction, which is a part of a paramedical tattoo. So areola tattooing is done for darkening or beautifying a normal but lighter colored areola, and that is an areola enhancement, which is a part of cosmetic tattooing. However, when we talk about a areola reconstruction, that would be a part of paramedical tattoo. So paramedical tattoos are meant to recreate something of the human body that is damaged or not normal, and it is paramedical tattoos are meant to make it look more normal. So paramedical tattoos are meant to recreate the natural human attributes. For example, vitiligo micropigmentation, scar camouflage, stretch marks camouflage, birthmark camouflage, areola creation or areola reconstruction, web toes correction. So there are people who suffer from, both the toes of the feet, stuck together by birth, and we create a sort of line with tattooing in between, which will make them look like normal separate toes, so that they don't have to undergo a surgery to separate their toes. Then there are something like nail creation. Some people have a part of a finger chopped off and then only the stub of the finger remains, but they want to have something that looks like a nail on top of it. So nail creation can be done, or sometimes a nail has been destroyed because of certain diseases or because of certain accident or damage, which can be recreated. So anything that is meant to recreate something which was normally supposed to be there in the first place is known as a paramedical tattoo. This also includes what is known as corneal tattooing. Corneal tattooing is when a person has lost vision anyway, but the eye or the cornea looks white or gray in color, and because of that, it looks uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable to the person who has it, and that is when we do a corneal tattooing. We, as in not eye, but eye surgeons. Ophthalmologists or ophthalmic surgeons will be doing a corneal tattooing, which is a part of paramedical tattooing. Then comes purpose tattoos. Purpose tattoos are meant to identify. Let's say in the olden days, there were tribals, and one tribe had to be identified amongst the other tribes. So there were tattoos done so that even during the war, there was um, even during wars, even if the dead bodies were there and beheaded, the person can be identified. Allow me a moment's time. I will get some water for myself. Yep, I'm back. Sorry about that. So any kind of tattoo that is meant for identification of a person, sometimes even in prisons, they will put tattoos on people to identify the prisoner with their prison number or something. Those are all known as purpose tattoos. Some people also put the tattoo of somebody's memory or somebody's birth date, etc. These are known as purpose tattoos. So now all of them are intentional tattoos, and now we move to accidental tattoo. Accidental tattoo can be traumatic tattoo, where when the skin is injured from outside with some colored object, and the color of that uh, stays inside the skin, then it will be something which is accidental. Okay, we have received a comment which says English mein hi pura lecture. Okay, I will try to mix English and Hindi both. Let me finish off this topic and then I'll try to mix this. I would be very happy to teach in Hindi. मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है हिंदी में सिखाने में. Just that I did not realize वो naturally जो presentation का language है वही वाला language आ गया, and I kept on speaking in that. So I will try to combine English and Hindi दोनों, and so we'll move back to accidental tattoos. जो भी tattoo इसे गलती से जानबूझ के नहीं किया है and it has been accidentally placed into the skin, उसको accidental tattoo बोलते हैं. गन पाउडर टैटू, जो लोग बंदूक चलाते हैं उनको यहाँ पे गन पाउडर बार बार छूता है, वो स्किन के अंदर चला जाता है, तो that is not intentional. It is not something which a person wants to put in their skin. That's an accidental tattoo. A miner's tattoo is something where people work in coal mines. जो कोयले की खान में काम करते हैं, तो they have the black coal or koila implanted into their skin, which is an accidental thing, and that is something which is also an accidental tattoo. So all said and done, if we have to talk about permanent makeup, yes, microblading and permanent makeup are technically tattoos. Yes, they are different from conventional tattoos in terms of the type of pigment used, the depth of placement of pigment, and the technique with which it is done. But the bottom line is that they are tattoos. However, here the correct client selection and the right setting of expectations are very important in order to give beautiful results. So that completes the classification of tattoo. हमने अभी tattoos को classify कर लिया है, and yes, permanent makeup is a tattoo. It's a beautiful tattoo, and I hope some of you here are already doing it. And for those who are not doing it, जो लोग अभी भी permanent makeup नहीं सीखा है या नहीं कर रहे, उनके लिए ये है कि why do you think permanent makeup is the most amazing career choice in the world of wellness and beauty sector today? आज इतना क्यों लोगों को permanent makeup करवाना है, करना है, सीखना है? What is the big hype about it? So permanent makeup is something जो कि instant results देता है. It gives instant result, it gives long lasting results. So both of the things are such that everybody wants. सबको ऐसा चाहिए ना कि beauty का कोई result हो which gives instant result, उसी time पे अच्छा दिखने लगे and long lasting भी हो. So permanent makeup is something like that. Now, what is the most important two parts of permanent makeup? Permanent makeup में काफी सारी चीजें आती हैं, but today we are going to talk about eyebrows and lips only. Baकी topics like eyeliner, BB glow, scalp micropigmentation. If you want to learn all those, you'll have to attend another webinar, which we will come up with very soon. So for now, let us talk about eyebrows and lips. So for eyebrows, there are various types of techniques, and we are going to discuss in detail about all of them. You might all have heard about microblading. Microblading is a manual procedure. There is no involvement of any sort of machine. It is one of the oldest techniques, and hence it is more popular. Kind of like, हम लोग बचपन में we used to call all chocolates Cadbury, because Cadbury was the only chocolate that we knew of. So microblading is something like that. Those people who are not from the industry, who are not well trained, and who are not from the industry and just wanting to get permanent makeup done, for them all permanent eyebrows are microblading. However, microblading in actual life is almost outdated now. In my own practice, I hardly ever do microblading. मतलब 200 में से एक client होगा जिसका मैं सिर्फ microblading करती हूँ. Very very rare. Lot of reasons for that, because there are a lot of contraindications. Contraindications मतलब ऐसी चीजें जिसकी वजह से वो skin पे microblading नहीं करना चाहिए. Those things are known as contraindications. Apart from that, microblading के जो long term results है, they are not that great. In the long term, microblading does tend to get smudged. It tends to get patchy when it heals. So a lot of downsides to microblading. So then what are the other options? One of the most common option is what is known as ombre powder brows. मेरे खुद के eyebrows भी जो है ना, these are ombre powder brows. So ombre powder brows can look very very natural. It is done with the help of a machine. It's a machine technique and it gives excellent long term results. The best part about powder brows is that you can give a very well defined shape. किसी को बहुत sharp dark thick eyebrows चाहिए होते हैं. Some people want a little soft and rounded brows. Some people want a lighter brown shade. Some people want darker color. So with this particular technique of ombre powder brows, all of this is possible. Okay, by the way, if you have any questions regarding whatever we are discussing right now, please feel free to drop a chat message and I will answer all your questions at the end of this. कोई भी question है तो chat box में डाल दीजिए. I will try to answer everybody's questions. Okay. Now the best part about ombre powder brows, apart from giving a good shape and well-defined brows, is that it is suitable for almost all skin types. ऐसा hardly ही कोई होगा कि जिसके skin में for some or the other reason we are not able to do ombre powder brows also. And so ombre powder brows का जो healing process है, that is much more safer, much more smoother compared to the microblading process. What is the third technique? A third technique is what is known as nano hair stroke brows. So primarily all type of eyebrows are a part of either a manual procedure, that is microblading, or if it is machine procedure, it has to be either ombre powder brows, which is also known as machine shading, or nano hair strokes, which is a method of hair strokes like look. So nano hair stroke is a machine technique and it gives very good long-term results, very natural looking results. However, it is the most difficult of all eyebrow techniques. So not everybody can do nano brows very nicely, whereas microblading and ombre powder brows are relatively easier. So even during a training, when we teach different techniques, we in the first go we teach only microblading and powder brows. Now for some people they grasp it very easily and then are able to learn nano hair strokes very easily, and some people are not able to learn, so which is fine. Not everybody has to do everything, but everybody has to do something at least. कुछ ना कोई टेक्निक तो सीख ही लेना चाहिए. So what can you do with all these techniques combined? So the first one, यहाँ पे जो number 1 लिखा हुआ है, that is your classic stroke microblading. 2 is nano hair strokes. 3 is ombre powder brows. But the beauty is when you combine techniques. If you see number 4, it is a combination of 2 and 3, which is nano hair strokes and ombre powder brows. 5 is also a combination of 2 and 3, but the shading here, it has been done in between the hair strokes to give the look of thicker hair. 6 and 7 are both combinations of 1 and 3. 1 and 3 को मिला के 6 और 7 बनाया गया है. The difference is in the placement of the shading. So microblading is something जो बनाया गया है front वाले portion में, and the shading has been done in the remaining portion. So those are the eyebrow techniques. And now we are going to discuss about what is the general perception of the eyebrow techniques versus what is actually true about microblading. So microblading people feel is the best technique for natural looking brows. However, it is not that great if you see the healed results. Immediately after the procedure, yes, microblading looks beautiful, but it does not give very good healed results. A lot of people feel that there is going to be a lot of pain because we are putting a needle in the eyebrows, we are putting a small blade in the eyebrows, but when done in the correct way, permanent eyebrows can be absolutely painless. In fact, 80% of my clients, they fall asleep while I'm actually still doing the procedure. Now, a lot of people feel that permanent eyebrow makeup turns gray in color and it looks like a tattoo. Now, there are two factors here in order to make sure that the eyebrow color looks natural. One is selection of the correct sort of pigments and machine and the technique. And the second is the depth of the placement of pigment. So if you select the correct quality of products and also make sure that your technique is fine, then the brows are going to heal true to color. True to color means कि जो color आप चाहते हो वही color आया है. The color that you wished for is the actual result. Some people feel that if I get a good permanent makeup machine, I will get good results. Well, of course, it is important to have a good permanent makeup machine, but it is equally important to know how to use that machine properly in order to give the right sort of results. As far as who can do these procedures is concerned. So even some of our clients believe, and here in India, because we have been as doctors, we have been doing permanent makeup. There has been a common perception that only doctors should be doing permanent makeup, but which is not actually correct. Anybody who is passionate about this field and wants to learn permanent makeup can make a fantastic career out of this field. Now I'm going to show you a short video of the microblading procedure, and it's a very closely shot video. If you see here, I'm making microblading strokes. There has to be a certain amount of distance between the strokes, and the depth at which the strokes are placed is something that you will be only able to judge when you are doing a hands-on, in front of an experienced artist, because they will be able to guide you simply by the touch and feel around the skin, how deep to go and how to make sure that you don't go too deep or too superficial. As far as the direction of hair is concerned, it is very much in sync with the natural direction of hair. Now ombre powder brows जो है उसमें the direction of hair is not relevant, it is more about the shape of the eyebrow. But when we are doing microblading or nano hair strokes, we have to keep in mind the direction of the hair, because the strokes that you create should not be drastically different from the hair strokes which are from the hair of the client which are already there. So they should be pretty similar and in sync so that the density looks better. As you can see, the microblading hair strokes are seen, and now we are again going to redo on the same hair strokes. We don't want to go too deep in the very first pass, so you can go over the same strokes again also. However, if you want, you can also leave it at one. You just do one single pass and then you leave it at that. That also is fine, mainly because the depth in the skin will differ from person to person. The thickness of skin will vary for each person, and you will have to customize your depth for each person who is getting their microblading done from you. So now we move on to the second most interesting part, that is the lips. Now, lips, you have a lot of different myths and facts once again, because lips procedure, lip micropigmentation is done for dark lip correction as well as for the enhancement of lips. So there are certain myths which we will be breaking today. So permanent lip micropigmentation is like lipstick, is what a lot of people believe. Some people have seen only the immediately before and after results of permanent lip makeup, and they feel that it is going to look like a lipstick for the rest of their life. Whereas permanent lip makeup is done to achieve a lip blush like effect, which is a more sheer effect. You add some color to the existing color of the lip. It is not completely opaque. However, by adding certain opacifiers, you can make it look more opaque and more uniform, but it is not always that way by default. So think of this, all these pigments are like watercolor. You might have used watercolor. I'm not talking about poster colors. Poster colors are the ones that come in a bottle. They are much more opaque. पोस्टर कलर्स के आर पार नहीं दिखता है. पोस्टर कलर एक बार लगा दिया तो इट इज ओपेक, whereas watercolors are something which are much more translucent in nature. Watercolors के आर पार दिखता है. So what we are putting on the lip is something like watercolor. However, if you add an opacifier, you can make any color more opaque and give a more uniform look to the lips. And after the procedure, some people feel there will be a lot of swelling, and I have also seen badly done lips where immediately after the procedure the lips look like a bee has stung. एकदम ऐसे, as if कोई मधुमक्खी ने आके वहां पे डस दिया है, वैसे लिप्स हो जाते हैं. So usually if the proper pressure and proper stretch is applied, there is not that much swelling. A little bit of tightness and just a slight swelling, which makes the lips look plump, can be seen for a few hours, but that's it. If the lips are too swollen, that means that you have not been very gentle with your client. As far as bleeding is concerned, so some people take it for granted. कि अरे needle से we are implanting pigment into the lips, तो bleeding तो होगा ही नहीं होगा. There shouldn't be much of bleeding. A little bit of pinpoint bleeding here or there might be acceptable in some cases where the lips are very thin or skin is very delicate. But when the correct technique is used, there shouldn't ideally be any bleeding. So if the lip is bleeding too much, what will happen is that the pigment will bleed out. You're putting the pigment in and the blood is coming out, so the pigment will bleed out, and at the same time there is the risk of something called PIH that happens. PIH is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation is something which happens when our skin or our body reacts to an injury and that part becomes darker. So sometimes if you are going too deep in the lip, instead of improving the color of the lip will become darker and more unpleasant. So you have to implant the pigment with the correct technique. Now, sad myth is that also a lot of people suffer from lip vitiligo. So some people are randomly doing any sort of lip color for lip vitiligo and expecting it to start looking like natural lips. So it's not that you cannot do correction for lip vitiligo, but the color selection has to be very, very careful. Also, you have to keep in mind that lip is something which constantly comes in contact with food, and there is a lot of movement because we speak, we eat, etc. So there is a lot of lip movement which will lead to faster going away of the color. Another sad myth is that all dark lips can be lightened. Actual fact is that most of the dark lips can be lightened to a very great extent, but it cannot become absolutely normal in color. The lightening effect is approximately 50 to 60% at the most for very dark lips, but all lips cannot be lightened 100%. Also keep in mind that even if you are able to lighten lips, it might not always look good if the surrounding skin is darker. So the people who have dark lips, if they also have dark skin, you should not lighten the lips too much, because otherwise it will look very odd if the lips are lighter than the surrounding skin. So I'm going to show you a procedure video of the lip micropigmentation procedure. You will notice that the depth of it is very superficial and we are using what is known as a pendulum movement. So here is the video. So we are going to go clear in to see. As you can see, it's a very, very superficially implanted pigment. What you are seeing in between the lips is we have put a round of cotton inside the lips so that the pigment and the numbing agents do not go inside the mouth. Here we are using a PMU machine from Eyebrow. We have two models in PMU machines. We have Sparkle and we have Bella. Bella is a lightweight machine. Sparkle is slightly heavier, but some people prefer Sparkle because it is more stable. This is a more close-up video of the lip procedure. The stretching of the lip is extremely important. So that is a little more detail about eyebrows and lips. And now we are going to see some pre and post pictures, and I'm going to discuss each case with you. So this is a classic stroke microblading. If you see, there is distance and normal skin seen in between the hair strokes. So a lot of times when people say, oh, I want very natural looking results, they don't realize that natural means that there will be skin seen in between the hair strokes also, and not just the hair strokes. Okay, I can see that quite a few of you have joined a little late. Don't worry. After this session, you will be able to click on the same link that you have, and you'll be able to watch the entire webinar. So you please do watch from the beginning, because we have discussed something very interesting. That is the classification of permanent makeup. And then we have moved on to various procedures of permanent makeup. I have shown a video of microblading procedure and of the permanent lip makeup procedure. So you can go through this entire webinar again at your convenience. Okay, so here on the screen, what you're seeing is what is known as classic stroke microblading, which is normal microblading. Then this is a combination brow where we have done microblading in the front part near the part of the eyebrows near the nose, and the remaining part we have done shading. This is one of the most popular techniques because it gives a very soft front look which looks very natural, and at the same time it can give you a very well defined shape at the arch and the tail. This here is also a combination eyebrow, but the combination is of nano hair strokes and powder brows. As you can see, there is nano hair strokes in the front, and the remaining part is shaded. The shape, as you might see on the left side of the screen, is something where the tail of the eyebrow is very short. This is deliberately done this way because in Europe, etc., if you see, the client is not of Indian origin. The client has a Western or European origin, and she wanted this kind of shape. So now the shape preference differs from region to region. So always keep this in mind whenever you are trying to define the shape and discuss it with your client. In alopecia, you would have to combine the nano hair strokes and ombre powder brows. So ombre powder brows goes in first, and at the time of next session, you can add hair strokes to give a more natural look. These two again are combination brows. The three picture collage that you see is a combination of microblading and shading, whereas the other picture that you see is a combination of nano hair strokes and shading. So in that other picture, we have covered or camouflaged a scar also. Now, wherever you have a scar, you cannot use a hair stroke technique because the pigment will spread inside the scar. The skin is already damaged and disturbed. So whenever you put any sort of pigment in that sort of a scar, it is going to spread, and ultimately it is going to end up looking like powder brows. So why not do powder brows from the very beginning itself? So we have done shading inside the scar. Here are some healed results that I wanted to show you. See, what happens is most artists will keep showing you the immediately before and after pictures. Now you have to handle your client not just immediately after the session, but a few weeks or months later also. So during that time, the brows will lighten to an extent where it starts looking more natural and blends well on the face of the person. These are some more healed results. In one of the pictures, which is the more close-up picture, you will see that there was a slight asymmetry. One eyebrow was higher than the other one, and we have made both eyebrows thicker in order to create a symmetry at the medial end, that is near the nose part of the eyebrow. So whenever you want to create symmetry, you would have to increase the thickness and add little more pigment on the bottom of the eyebrow, which is higher, and add more pigment at the top of the eyebrow, which is lower. So you can balance it out by adding in different places on both eyebrows, and hence give a more symmetrical look to the eyebrow. Now, nano hair strokes is something, of course, I do in females also, but primarily, especially in males, I always prefer to do nano hair strokes because that gives a far more natural look. It gives a non-threaded look. In males, we don't want a very well defined look, because a very well defined look will make it look very feminine. So what we want to do is something which is a non threaded look, and that is best given by nano hair strokes. Now here, if you see the lips, we have done one lip color enhancement. You can see the immediately before and after and the healed result. And the other, where the lip is a dark lip, we have done a correction. Now, right now, you might not see the lip looking lighter than what it was looking, because we have used what is known as a neutralizer. So whenever there is a dark lip, you can use a neutralizing color in order to correct that darkness, and eventually the lip will look much lighter. Both of these are lip color enhancements, the immediately after effect. On the left side, you can see the before and the immediately after, as well as the healed results. And on the right side is the immediately after result. Now, if you see these kind of lips, these are the most common lips in India, where the upper lip is darker, lower lip, the center part is lighter, and the corners are darker. So here we always should use brighter colors, colors which have more orange and yellow in it, in order to make sure that the end result is something which will suit the Indian skin tone and the undertone. If you are not familiar with the undertone and skin tone, then you can check out our color theory course on the Eyebrow Academy app. So where we have in detail discussed the various undertones of the skin. Now, as far as the product selection is concerned, I always compare selecting a good product and selecting a good PMU artist with a car and its driver. So if you have to go somewhere, buy a car which somebody else is going to drive, let's say you have to hire a taxi, what will you look for? First thing you will say, oh, which car is it? It has to be a good quality car which gives you the comforts that you are used to. So here that is the same as selecting good quality PMU products. So let's say you have a fantastic car, you have a Mercedes available at a very good rate, but the driver is not good. What will you do then? Will you still go buy that car? No. So for your clients here, you are going to be the driver of the car that is going to make beautiful eyebrows and lips on their faces, which is going to last for many, many years. So make sure that you know how to do your technique properly. Select the correct products and also select the correct technique. Both are equally important to give beautiful end results. So when we talk about products, the microblading products are different from the ombre powder brows and lips and BB glow, etc. For the all machine treatments, you require a permanent makeup machine and liquid pigments and a cartridge which is compatible with your machine. Whereas for microblading is a manual procedure. So for microblading, you would only require a microblading holder, a microblading blade, and cream-based pigments. So depending on which procedure you are planning to do, you can choose various things. For example, just to give you an idea, for our microblading procedures, we have these semi-cream pigments. This is a set of 3 pigments which are semi-cream in nature, because they have to be thicker. Because for microblading, you would require something which is thicker in nature, because the blade has to be able to hold the pigment. Whereas when we talk about something like machine eyebrows, where you have to do powder brows or nano hair stroke brows, you require only liquid pigments. These pigments are liquid pigments, and they will be used with a machine. Now, let's say for lips, sometimes you want to give a more sheer look and sometimes you want to give a more opaque look. In those cases, you can combine. There are certain liquid pigments, and then we also have semi-cream pigments which will give an opaque look and work as an opacifier. Let's say even for dark lip correction, we have an opacifier and we have the liquid pigments. These can be mixed and matched to create a more opaque look or a sheer look, dark, light, bright, pink, whatever. So depending on what end result you want and what color is already there in the skin or the lips of the client, you would have to select the color, and you usually have to mix different colors in order to get the perfect shade. So it's not like one random color will suit all clients. It has to be mixed and matched in order to create a color which will be suitable for the end result that you want. So even for vitiligo camouflage, so we'll be coming to that because I've promised that here I'm going to be teaching you the color selection for vitiligo camouflage. Now for vitiligo, you have to understand that there are two types of melanins in the skin. Melanin is the brown color of the skin, and there are two types of brown. One is known as pheomelanin, Pheomelanin. Pheomelanin is a reddish brown color. It is a reddish yellow. How it is defined is it is a reddish yellow brown color. It is brown, but it is a reddish yellow brown kind of you know how the color that we use on our flower pots in the garden or terrace, that reddish brown color, that is the kind of color that pheomelanin has. The other type of melanin is what is known as a eumelanin. Eumelanin is something which is blackish brown in color. It looks blackish brown because it has more of blue in it. You might be wondering, where did blue come into brown? Um, just a moment, huh? There's some question. Okay. So somebody has asked, is the PMU machine which is available with eyebrows, are they wired or wireless? Which is good, wired or wireless? Okay. So I will tell you, we use wired machines as of now. I myself also during all procedures, I use wired machines. The reason for this is that it is the battery. If it is a wireless machine, it will have a battery attached. The battery will increase the weight of the machine. The moment the weight of the machine is increased, it will be difficult for you to control the depth. So wireless machines come with the convenience of not having a wire, so it's easier to use. But as far as results are concerned, you have to be very, very particular that you don't accidentally go deeper. So imagine this is my hand. If there is more weight here, then of course it is going to go deeper, even if I don't intend for it to do so. So that is why we prefer wireless. That's why we prefer wired machines. So the machine that I myself use during procedures, if you have seen any of my videos on Instagram, etc., if you have not, you can check them out. We also have a lot of videos here on YouTube. So if you have not followed our channel yet, please do follow so that you can keep seeing. I plan to upload a lot more videos also. So I use a wired machine mainly because it ensures that the machine is not very heavy. Okay, so coming back to vitiligos and our two types of melanins. So there is pheomelanin and there is eumelanin. Eumelanin is a blackish brown melanin, and that is something that looks very dull, that makes the skin look very dull also. So now, if you want to create skin color, you have to have both these types of browns in different proportions. Some people will have more of pheomelanin, some people will have more of eumelanin. You will have to mix the eumelanin and pheomelanin to create a skin color. Now, this is something which is very exciting, okay? Especially for people who love art and colors, which most of us do. Some of us know that we love it, and for some of us, it is hidden behind. But whenever we see a lot of colors and everything, we do enjoy it. So here for vitiligo color selection, what we do is we have a color called wit gold, which is a yellowish brown, something like this. The color is something like this. And then we have a color called wit satin, which is a very light whitish color. So whenever you have a skin which has more of pheomelanin, the skin color has more of reddish brown on it, you can combine a color called wit spice along with wit gold. So this is a reddish brown and this is a golden yellow color. You have to combine both of these and use it on the skin to give that reddish yellow color. Now for those who have a darker brown skin or more of eumelanin, you can still use this color which is known as wit coffee, which is a dark deep brown, and you can mix wit gold with it. I have given a more detailed explanation regarding the vitiligo color selection, in which we have the video is there on YouTube. So you can check it out. And we have given a more detailed explanation of all the colors. It is a professionally shot video, so there are a lot of close-ups and a lot of mixing of various colors. I have actually created different vitiligo patches, and on that I created is not on people, okay, but on paper. So I've created the look of different types of vitiligo patches, and then we have used our pigments to mix and match and create colors to match. So I have even shown the proportion in which it has to be mixed. So when you want to select color for vitiligo, you need to understand the undertone of the person, because you have to match the skin color. So using only browns will not help. So I have seen a lot of people using brown color to treat vitiligo. It ends up looking gray or green or purple or black. If you want to create a brown, you will need to have opacifiers. Opacifiers are things which will kind of seal the light from going further. So what happens is, this is the epidermis and this is the dermis. Dermis is the lower layer of skin, epidermis is the upper thinner layer of the skin. Our normal skin color is in this layer, whereas the pigment which we are going to implant and it's going to stay for a long time is in this color, is in this layer. Okay, so now you have to recreate a color in this layer which is going to look to something similar which is going to be in this layer. So you have to make sure that when light falls from above, it is going to stop here, because if light goes deeper and it reflects from a deeper level, it is going to get distorted and what is known as a Tyndall effect. Whenever you see something through water or through gel or through multiple layers of glass, it will start looking greenish, bluish, or blackish in color. And that is what happens when you take a brown shade without using an opacifier and you implant it into the skin. It is still going to be more translucent and it will allow the light to pass through and reflect back on the surface, and it is going to give you a more dark color. So opacifiers are something which are like thick, so you cannot use exclusively only opacifiers with your machine. Also, the machine will not be able to suck in the opacifiers. Opacifiers are semi-cream in nature, they are thicker. So they have to be mixed with a liquid pigment. So whenever you are mixing and matching colors, you will have to mix and match 2-3 different types of colors and try it next to, like you can use a cotton bud or something to just apply it on the skin next to the vitiligo patch and see if it matches. Of course, you will require multiple sessions. There are usually 2 to 3 sessions which are done in order to get the right sort of color, but you can still manage to get a good match. So that was it about the vitiligo color selection, and now we are going to discuss about what sort of key points you have to take home from this entire session. Yes, that's a picture of me doing my own eyebrows. Pigment is supposed to be deposited in the upper dermis. So deep implantation can lead to undesirable color change and scarring. This also is applicable for vitiligo. So you don't have to implant the pigment too deep into the skin. Length of the needle outside the machine has got nothing to do with the depth of the needle into the skin. So for example, in our Bella machine, which I'm doing my own eyebrows with, if you see the machine that I'm holding to do my own eyebrows is Bella. So Bella has a fixed needle length. So that is fine. You don't always have to change the needle length. Change in needle length for permanent makeup is only relevant to decide the flow of pigment. So the shorter the needle, more pigment will flow. Longer needle, less pigment will flow. That's the only thing. Otherwise, length of the needle outside the machine is not how deep we go into the machine. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Um, Also, micropigmentation is a field unto itself. It's not an extension of medical science. So everybody who has the passion for this field can do well here, especially if you are going to invest some amount of time into practicing whatever you have learned during a training or even by yourself if you've seen videos, etc. Spend a lot of time in practicing this art so that you can give excellent results. Now, why is this important? Now we are going to come to our final point about what kind of earning potential does this field have. So this field is something which is primarily skill based. Now, before we discuss the earning potential, I want you to either open your cell phones or get a paper and pencil to answer certain questions for yourself. Okay, so I'm sure all of you get haircuts done, you know. So you select a hairstylist, and I want you to write the answer in comments. Okay, so you select a hairstylist. There are hairstylists which charge less. There are hairstylists which charge more. Like less and more is of course very relative. Some hairstylists might charge as little as 100 rupees a haircut. Some will charge 500 a haircut. Some will be 1500. Some will be even 2000. So what is the difference? So can somebody please write in the chat box what is the difference between all these hairstylists? I'm waiting for your answers. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to answer the question that I'm seeing on the chat box. What is the length of the needle to be used for brows and lips? So length of the needle depends on how much pigment you want to allow to flow. So usually we keep a length of about 1.5 to 2 millimeters, but most of the PMU machines will not have a millimeter length set. So it is not about setting the length in millimeters, but about adjusting based on the amount of pigment flow that is happening on the skin. I'm waiting for your answers. What is the basis for selecting different hairstylists? Yeah. So I'm waiting for that answer. You can write in the chat box, you can write in the comments about the difference between a cheap hairstylist and a very expensive hairstylist. So, what is the main difference? I'm not going to answer till I see at least one answer in the chat box. Come on, come on, come on. What is the differentiating point between the hairstylists? Come on. I'm waiting for an answer. Okay, so I just received a message from our team which says that they have put a setting where the answers will come very slowly. I can only get one answer every minute. Okay, so experience and quality. Okay, expertise to give results. Yes, customization as per hair. Yes. So, this is exactly my point. None of you have said that the hairstylist is charging based on the scissors that he uses or she uses. Of course, a good hairstylist would have to use good scissors, but the results don't depend upon the scissors. The results depend upon the skill and the talent of the hairstylist. So here, the more time and effort you put into honing your skills, the more you will be able to charge. Okay, so that was my question, because usually what happens is whenever somebody comes to me as a client, or somebody who comes to me for training also, they'll ask me how much do you charge and why. It is entirely dependent upon the skill level of the person and the expertise. So, what is it that differentiates one permanent makeup artist from another, and how much can you earn? So now, in order to make sure that your expertise is good, you would of course need a good quality training. So a lot of people feel that, I don't want to spend too much in an expensive training, but you have to also understand that in the long run, that is what is going to give you better revenue. If I talk about in terms of management studies, there are very reputed institutes which are there for MBA degrees, like let's say IIM. And there are also, very local, not well known institutes which also give you an MBA degree. But an MBA from IIM is definitely going to earn a far, far, far better salary, get more respect in the society, and have more job satisfaction than somebody who has done an MBA from a local unknown college. So, similarly, if you have undergone a good quality education for permanent makeup, then definitely you are going to be able to deliver more results and you are going to be able to charge more, which in the long run is going to be more beneficial for you financially also. So let us say that you do on an average 10 procedures a month. You might of course do more. On an average, most of our past trainees are doing 15 to 20 procedures every month. So that's an average. There are some people who are doing as many as 40 to 50 procedures every month. There are some who are doing only 5 to 6 procedures a month because they are also busy with their other procedures which are not permanent makeup related. So, for our clients or our trainees, past trainees, depending on what amount of time they have invested in, practicing, they charge differently. Now, let us assume that you are doing 10 procedures in a month and per procedure you are charging 35,000. That is something that I charge here sitting in a tier 2 city like Ahmedabad. I'm not even sitting in a metro city. So in Ahmedabad, I charge 35,000 for one procedure. Now, I have mentioned time as 40 hours. What I mentioned by 40 hours is what I mean by 40 hours is a total for 10 procedure including touch up. So it usually takes about 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes to do a primary session, and it takes about 1 to 1.5 hours to do a touch up. So a total of 4 hours is for primary session plus touch up. So if I'm spending 40 hours in a week, I'm actually doing 10 primary sessions and 10 touch-ups. 40 hours in a month, not in a week, I'm sorry. 40 hours in a month means about 10 hours in a week. Usually most of us work 10 hours in a day doing a lot of different procedures. Here I'm talking about 10 hours in the entire week if you spend, and if you're charging 35,000 per procedure, you can still make 3,50,000 a month. Isn't that a great figure? What if you don't want to charge that much? You can charge as less as 20,000 per procedure and still make 2 lakhs. This is with only 10 procedures per month. Okay. See, here the product cost is almost negligible. You spend like around 500 to 1,000 rupees per session as product cost. So that is not much at all. So here we are only considering the top line. So if you are charging 20,000 a month, if you are charging 20,000 per procedure, you will still make 2 lakhs a month. Now, if you have taken a poor quality training, or if after doing the training you have not invested enough time in practicing, like I tell most of my trainees that, after doing the training, please, please, please practice for 15 minutes a day. If you have not invested that time in training, or in the first place, if you have been trained poorly, then even if you are charging only 8,000, you're not making a lot of money. So if you invest in a good quality training, you will still be able to recover your money within less than a month once you start doing the procedures regularly. So, for those of you who wanted to know about the earning potential, most of our past trainees are making 5 to 6 lakhs a month just from permanent makeup procedures, spending approximately 50 to 60 hours in a month. So, approximately they spend 2 to 4 hours per day to do permanent makeup, and they are making approximately 5 to 6 lakhs a month very easily. Okay, I have a couple of comments I can see. One question is, acupuncture needle used in PMU? No, acupuncture needle cannot be used for PMU. It is too thin. Acupuncture needle will not be stable enough because when we do the movement in PMU, the acupuncture needle will vibrate too much. uh, okay. Now, Vibha is saying that depending on the geography, of course, if a hairstylist stays in a well-known city, he or she charges more. Experienced and skilled hairstylist stays in a small town, she need to bring down the cost. Yes, of course. The location will matter, and also the kind of setup that you have will matter. If it is a very fancy setup, it will be something where the people will charge more because they have more comfort, it's a fancier place and everything. And of course, city wise, that's why I said in tier 2 I'm charging this much. Our students in Hyderabad and Delhi are charging 45,000 a session, because in Hyderabad and Delhi the pricing is much higher than in Ahmedabad. So yes, of course the location will matter, but sitting in the same location there will be multiple different pricing. So you cannot control your location if you're already located in one particular city. Like I'm located at Ahmedabad, so I have to think about what is the best thing I can do in order to charge the most, and that is my skill. So the most time that I invest in is to develop a better skill. So if you are able to do that, then you will definitely be able to charge more to your clients, and hence you will be able to get better margins, and regulate your life much better, because all these treatments are on appointment basis. Usually there are no walk-ins, so I'm able to manage my life much better compared to when I was working as a dermatologist. So here you have to keep in mind everything. You want to have your own personal life, and you want to have your me time also, but at the same time you also want to be doing well in your profession. So being a permanent makeup artist gives you that flexibility. And yes, anybody else has any more questions? Okay. So, yes, so earning potential, of course, is good. And it is also something, it's a job which comes with a lot of responsibility, because the work that we are going to do is going to be there on people's faces for the next several months or years to come. So, you have to make sure that you invest your time and money in a good training, and invest your time in practicing this art on a regular basis, so that you can deliver good results. It's very gratifying for me as a permanent makeup artist when after several years also my client comes to me and says, oh, you know what, you did my brows 5 years back and they were beautiful, and now I want to get them redone, so I came back to you. It's extremely gratifying for me as a permanent makeup artist, and I would want you to also feel that sort of happiness when your client says that. So, if you are not already doing PMU, I would urge you to get into this field ASAP. If you're watching this webinar, then definitely you are interested in the field of permanent makeup, or are already doing permanent makeup in some or the other way. So, I would want you to get deeper and deeper into this field, because there is a lot of variety available, a lot of opportunity, a lot of scope for creating beautiful faces, and also earning a good amount for yourself as well as for your family. There is no age bar, there is no gender bar, there is no bar to your existing profession. So, if anything is stopping you, you can discuss with me. You can call our team, and you can arrange, ask them to arrange a phone call with me, where I will resolve your doubts about whether you should get into this field or not. You can talk to me about your personal situation, your family, or why you are thinking about, why you are in a dilemma about whether you should get into permanent makeup or not. So if you feel that you are on that edge, where you want to decide whether to get into this field or not, get in touch with us on our training team, or you can email us, or you can drop us a WhatsApp. So I will be sharing the WhatsApp number, as well as the um, just a moment, let me check the WhatsApp number as well as the call number. So the calling number is 814 0022 022. So um, just a moment. So I'm dropping the WhatsApp number that you can get in touch with. It is 722 900 4283. You can just save this number. You can WhatsApp us anytime. And if you want to directly speak to any of our team members regarding, PMU and the scope of PMU in the industry at present, you can get in touch with us on 814 0022 022. So I hope you enjoyed this webinar. And if you still have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box and I would be happy to answer. We are regularly planning to hold webinars on different topics, and we shall be informing you about them and getting in touch with you. And I hope to see you again soon. Uh, Thank you so much, Vibha. And I'm glad this session was helpful. My main purpose for this session was to introduce everybody to the world of PMU and everything that it involves, so that it will help you take a decision regarding whether you should actually get into the field or not. And if yes, then how deep do you want to get into this field? What are the pros and cons? As far as the cons are concerned, see, I'm a very blunt person. Okay, I will tell you the bad side about everything also. So if you also want to know the cons, the con is a slight learning curve. Okay, so definitely immediately after the training you would be able to do all the procedures, but if you want to get like really really good at this, you have to keep practicing. So that investment of time is the only con that I can see. This is something that requires an investment of time. But also understand that if you had to go to a permanent makeup artist yourself, you would want to go to somebody who has invested their time in learning this so that they can give you great results. So similarly, if you are going to paint people's faces and that is going to stay for the next several years, please invest a certain amount of time and your passion to give great results. So keep practicing and keep loving PMU. I'm with you on this journey. Take care and have a great day ahead.